crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I say, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Level 3 has begun. And one thing about Julio, you know he loves to bet on the international sports and stuff. We have the Olympics are coming up. We'll get to this Katie Ledecky video in a second. But I know, Julio, you're always thinking ahead, and you're like, we were talking about betting futures and stuff. I think I told you this like 2 weeks ago or whatnot, whenever the women's 3-on-3 team was announced, right?
Yeah,
Brent Howard and Cameron Brink and 2 other players, but the 2 WNBA players, whatever, with Howard and Brink on a 3-on-3 team. And I said at the time, I said, you know what? Canada can actually beat them. Canada have won. And I don't pretend like I've been, doing research and stuff, but I saw a feature basically on TV. There's all these Olympic features on TV all the time now about the athletes and stuff. So I saw a feature on the women's team, the 3-on-3 team, and they've actually won. I think they've won like the last 2 world championships type of thing. And like I said, they don't play in the WNBA, right? There's like 2 sisters that's only specialize on 3-on-3 basketball, and they're really good. And now, Cameron Brink's out for the year. She's not going to the Olympics. And Howard got hurt last night. I don't know the extent of the injury, but Canada were plus 250. It's down to plus 200. And I was thinking, this is pretty hardcore, Julio. I was actually last night sitting up at like 3:30 in the morning, looking at my phone, and I was about to bet it. I'm like, am I really about to bet women's 3-on-3 basketball 6 weeks in advance to try to save 50 cents on the line? I was like, what? I was like, it's probably a smart thing to do. And it keeps coming down. Like the smart people are catching on. So people tune in for smart advice. I'm telling you right now, Canada is the play on this women's 3-on-3 stuff, and sharps and the odds makers are starting to catch on too.
Well, I've jotted it down right now. Gabe, plus 200 here in Colorado. I'm taking that advice. I've been checking out everything from field hockey to water polo. Look, we're trying to. I'd rather do that than bet on baseball. That's for sure.
All right. So speaking of Katie Ledecky, we get this Ledecky video up. Great great find by Tommy here. So Ledecky, one of the greatest swimmers of all time, the female Michael Phelps. Like, she's awesome. And here she is in a pool, and she puts. This is unbelievable. She puts a cup of chocolate milk on top of her head and swims with it. How far in a pool could you go? I'd like to see you in a pool, Julio. You doing a cannonball. Between you and Cam, that'd be a contest. But Look at this. You know what? I got a pool in my condo. Unfortunately, it's undergoing renovations right now, which is really upsetting me and frustrating me. But I'll do this. I'll do a video like this, except instead of chocolate milk, I'll put a White Claw or something on top of my head. And how far do you think you can swim, Julio, without spilling the chocolate milk on top of your head like this? This is unbelievable. She just did the full lap.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's probably going to chug the milk too, eh? There you go.
There she goes. Oh, look at that. What a show-off she is.
I'd probably make it a half a meter before the milk spilled all over the pool.
You know what? I'm gonna go under, Julio. I'm gonna say your big head. Like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
you have an advantage because your head is so big, number one. So there's a lot of space for like the cup to rest. But I'm imagining there'd be a lot of rockiness going on, Julio, with you.
It'd be a wavy lap for sure. Very wavy.
All right, so hold on. I got to welcome the affiliates. We'll get Julio's soccer picks. Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Level 3 has begun. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. It's been a wild day today. J.J. Redick becomes the 7th coach of the Los Angeles Lakers since Phil Jackson retired. It's official. J.J. Redick is the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Meanwhile, former Laker Alex Caruso gets dealt from the Bulls to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Josh Giddey. And interestingly enough, we have a man from Chicago in the house, used to be the play-by-play voice of Chicago State basketball. And now he's known as Big Card Julio. JN reports Julio Rosario in the house with us. Julio, you're actually a Bulls guy, and you were the play-by-play guy at the Windy City Bulls as well. What do you think about this deal and the Bulls getting Josh Giddey?
It's tough losing a good guy like Caruso as a defensive player. If the big question now is whether or not they're going to trade Zach LaVine. If they do that, I kind of like this deal more because then Giddey could be a good focal point of the offense. It's an interesting one for sure with the draft coming up just a week away.
They will. I think they will trade LaVine. The problem is, it's not like a ton of teams lining up to pay him the amount of money that he makes.
Correct.
As far as the Bulls are concerned, there's some people out there that are bigging up Caruso like he's Drew Holiday and he's the final piece and all this type of stuff. And he is a very good player that could help a winning team. He's a perfect fit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I saw a report, you never know what's true or not, about the Bulls were offered a top 10 pick. There was a team that offered a top 10 pick to try to get Caruso at the deadline. And we don't know if that's true or if it was around a 10 pick, but the Bulls clearly figure that Giddey is better than a draft pick, right? Which I can understand. Giddey is a good player. He's 21 years old. He's got a ton of talent. He wasn't getting the full minutes in Oklahoma City. He sort of fell out of the rotation a little bit, not fully, but you guys know what I'm saying. So he can sort of thrive and get some minutes. And everybody always complains, Julio, about the Chicago Bulls in Chicago, and it's true that the Bulls are just sort of mediocre, right? They're an old team. You got the DeRozans of the world and LaVine and these guys and Caruso, and they make the play-in tournament every year and get bounced. The Bulls need a redo. They need to start over. So the start over has begun. I actually think it's a win-win for both teams personally.
100%. A win for Oklahoma City as they ascend the Western Conference. And the Bulls have been in NBA hell, as we call it in Chicago. They're not bad enough to get a lottery pick, and they're not good enough to win a title. So they need to make a change soon, and hopefully this is the summer they begin that decline to get a better pick.
I would say, how about the Chicago Sky, Julio? But I don't think you're a Chicago Sky fan. You're more of an Indiana Fever fan.
It's funny you say that, Gabe. I've got Indiana Fever over 14 and a half wins, Gabe, minus 105. They're 6-10 on the season, 3-game winning streak, 24 games left, including the Olympic break. They need to go 9-15 in 24 games to get us to 15 wins. I think they get there. So give me Indiana Fever minus 105 over 14.5 wins. And to spice it up a little bit, I put it in a parlay with Germany to win Group A, Colombia to qualify in the Copa America, and Uruguay to qualify plus 211, just to spice things up a bit.
Julio bringing it. Like I said, that's what I love about you, big card Julio. You never know what sports you're going to have with us. So what's your pick tomorrow for France and the Netherlands?
We're going to do over 2.5 goals and a little bit on France to win at 2-1.
All right, I think we got about a minute left here. Anything you want to blast through? You got any more million soccer picks, or is this it for you?
Venezuela to qualify plus 162. Currently fourth in the South American World Cup qualifiers with 9 points, 2 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss. I think they qualify out of their group. I've got a parlay. Scotland not to qualify. Bolivia not to qualify. Paraguay not to qualify. Minus 109. And then how about this, Gabe? Venezuela plus 2. Jamaica plus 2. Minus 115 in their Copa America openers.
Love it. Jamaica and Mexico going head to head. We were talking about that match earlier. Big card Julio in the house. JN reports on Twitter. Great stuff, Julio. Always a pleasure, my man. Enjoy the matches and games.
Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Take care.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. We'll get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Wild day of soccer today. But I want to start off with what's going on in Los Angeles. And I don't know what's crazier, the Matthew Stafford and his wife's story, and/or J.J. Redick is the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But let's start off with the Matt Stafford story. I talked about it earlier a bit, and I told people, I said, you got to check it out. We don't have the rights to play the clip and stuff like that. So, we could give you the context of it. But so Matthew Stafford's wife, who has never been shy to voice her opinion, you see her in those cheesy-ass legal will commercials, And you have to wonder, too, why would anybody that's making like $50 million a year, are we supposed to believe that you guys, your will and like Matthew Stafford's $500 million will be decided by an online legal will kit worth $19? And or like, why are they doing that? How much money do they really get? So, it was her idea. It's like, just, hey, when you die, I get your money. Let's do a commercial for it. So Stafford's wife, Kelly, revealed that she, on a podcast, that she dated the quarterback's college backup just to make him jealous. Kelly claimed that Stafford was trying to casually date while they were students. So she decided to piss him off by ditching him for the backup, who lived in the same dorm and was polar opposites. It wasn't that cute of a relationship. I hated him. I loved him. I dated the backup quarterback just to piss him off. She talks about, like, leaving her car, like staying with him and leaving her car outside just to upset Stafford. He was a bad boy, too. Matthew is so sweet, a Southern gentleman. So then why are you throwing him under the bus on a podcast right now? And the backup was the complete opposite, and it upset him. Everybody's wondering who the backup is. For the record, Joe Cox is deemed to be the one, ironically enough. Ironically enough. Yet, and she goes on, they lived in the same dorm because athletes lived in the same dorm. So she was basically, okay, fine. You know what I mean? Like, people date and what happened before, you know what I mean? And all this and people's marriages. I don't get into people's personal lives, but she just threw this out here. And why would you tell the public about this right now? What the hell do you think defensive linemen are going to say to Stafford now when they're lining up on the line? And she opened up all of this. They lived in the same dorm. He would, at one point, he waited for me to come out and follow me to get into the car, and he wouldn't get out. He told me, he's not right for you. Like really? So now Joe Cox's name is Joe Cox is like, what did I do? How am I in the news? I got to be, like I said, you people are tuned to the show. I've been doing it for 22 years. I've never talk about people's wives or girlfriends and personal stuff. There's enough stuff to talk about without getting into people's personal lives. But it's a little bit different if your wife hosts a podcast and your wife goes on other podcasts and they do television commercials. And just a little backstory about her, too. Going back when they were in Detroit, and Detroit's not the richest city in the world, right? You know what I mean? So this is when the Lions sucked. He's in Detroit. She had a bunch of extra tickets to a football game, and she decided to sell them instead of just giving them away, despite the fact that Stafford was making like $30 million a year at the time. And she got called out for it. Like, how come you just didn't give the tickets to charity or whatnot? It was a bad look, and she defended it. They're my tickets. I can do whatever the F I want with them and stuff. So she wasn't very popular in Detroit years ago, just as a starting point. Last year, if you recall, she made it up that she got accosted, that Lion fans accosted her and her kids, which wasn't true. There wasn't any evidence at all that anybody did anything negative, and people in Detroit were nice to them and loved Stafford and stuff. They gave him, before the game, they gave him an ovation. So, she's, there was that. Let's not forget about the time that she threw a giant-sized pretzel. I remember going on a big rampage about that when she hit a 49er fan in the head with a pretzel. All right? So there's been a long list. And those, like I said, those Will commercials are just so strange, right? You know what I mean? Like I said, like Matthew Stafford has a lot of money. You know what I mean? The dude's made a lot of money over the years. Hundreds of millions of dollars type of deal. And so why would you do some, like, commercial like this to make, like, how much money are they really paying you? Like, it's one of these commercials that's on, like, MeTV, right? You're watching Ken and Mannix at 2 in the morning, and Kelly and Matt Stafford come on and remind you you're going to die soon and you're not as rich as they are. So that was a strange-ass story. Check out the video. The video, it's just, in her words, it's more defining. So there's that. And then J.J. Redick, officially the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, a very polarizing hire in which, he doesn't have any experience at all. This is crazy. And others that think, J.J. Redick is a potential genius. A funny story about J.J. Redick that came out, it was from Carmelo Anthony on a podcast. Carmelo Anthony said, It was just today when he found out about the hire that he told a story about Kobe Bryant not liking J.J. Redick. and if you recall, it's funny, like sort of now Caitlin Clark not on the Olympic team, but J.J. Redick got invited to like USA Basketball. And Mike Krzyzewski was the coach of the national team. And Krzyzewski raved and talked about J.J. Redick so much and about what a smart player he was and why he deserved a spot and why he should be there and stuff. And Kobe Bryant took it personal, like Jordan. So, and Carmelo told a story, and he goes, so suddenly in practice and stuff, he goes, there's Kobe Bryant, like just terrorizing this kid from Duke and J.J. Redick. Right? And he's running into him, he's pushing him around, he won't even let him get a shot off in practice, and he's like all over him. And Melo goes, I said, yo, Kobe, like, what's going on, man? Like, why are you so crazy about this kid? And he goes, I'm effing sick and tired of hearing Krzyzewski talk about how good he is. I'm sick of it. I don't like this kid. And as J.J. Redick has told a story after about how Kobe motivated him, right? And for the record, too, J.J., and I'm not saying, Kobe doesn't like J.J. Melo was the one that told the story. It was when J.J. Redick was a rookie, all right? Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just a funny story. I'm not trying to make a drama out of it.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogeys, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. There was a story, and if you follow me on Twitter, at SportsRage, Twitter X, it's funny, I saw Elon Musk ask a poll question. When was the last time you actually called it Twitter? I was like, I don't know, 30 seconds ago. But we have a segment, The Best of X. And, this is Las Vegas themed. So there was a story about Las Vegas becoming like the most expensive travel destination. Prices have increased in Las Vegas, like hotels, food, etc., like food and beverage, the hospitality service, hotels. has increased more than anywhere else in Vegas over the last 5 years. And I've been saying it, listen, and I lived in Vegas for a long time. I know, like, I've seen the changes in Vegas over the years and, like, how they market it differently. And we're in a modern, upscale, like, era right now. Like, if you'll notice, they're bulldozing all the crap-ass places. Look, the Tropicana's coming. All the cheaper hotels are getting knocked down. Even the Mirage. Like, get rid of them, right? Like, they're modernizing it, and they're making it more expensive. It's like $18 for a bottle of water. And you still get stung in the nuts by a scorpion in your hotel room. It's a cold world. But, so I was talking about money in Vegas and stuff. And I was like, and then, like I said, they don't hide it. They have conference calls and Chamber of Commerce and all that. And basically, Las Vegas sells out all the time. So if you're going to have a bunch of people there, you might as well have people with money. Like the days of the free drinks and the dollar hot dogs at O'Shea's, dollar blackjack and all that are gone. So it translates into the Raiders now. So this is the best of X. So listen, I'll give them credit. It's Las Vegas. And it's basically like you go to Vegas and you stay in a hotel. And you go down to the pool and you figure, hey, I'm a guest in the hotel. I'm going to go down to the pool now since, it's part of the perks. And you get to the pool and you find out, well, you know what? It's $80 for a chair and it's $48 for a towel and it's $60 to get in, right? So everything costs money, but people have money out there, right? Maybe the economy is struggling for some, but there's a lot of people that just burn money and don't care how much anything is. If you have to ask how much it is, then you can't afford it. So the Raiders have come up with a new way of making money. A tailgate experience, $20,000. For $20,000, they basically put you on a wood scaffold with a couple of bottles of vodka. There are drinks included, so it's unlimited drinks for $20,000 in the parking lot of Allegiant Stadium. That's right, not $2,000, not $200, not for the game, but this is just it's just to tailgate outside. And we've got some pictures and video of what it looks like here. So here it is. It's basically like a trailer, as you see. Like, all right, you got a little Raiders, a couple of, there's a couch, a couple of chairs, $20,000. $20,000. Is that for season tickets for the next 5 years? No. That's for that trailer that we set up and put a Raider logo on. And we put a couple of bottles of Grey Goose in there, and we're charging you $20,000 for it. How's that sound? And the perk is, too, it's climate controlled. It's air conditioned. Well, all right. The Raiders play in the fall, and even in Vegas, it's cold in the winter. It doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's air conditioned. Yeah, that's going to help. Anyone that's ever lived in Vegas knows how freaking cold and windy it gets in Vegas in the wintertime. All right? And in fact, the last time I left Allegiant Stadium, I froze my ass off. So I vividly remember it was against the Colts. And walking out of there, and I was like, damn, is it cold out here? I really should have worn another jacket, right? Leaving the stadium, one of those deals. Oh, but I'm in the desert. But the 20,000, like, what are we doing? $20,000 for a tailgate. That's not for like a luxury suite at the game. That's to sit in the effing parking lot. For $20,000, I want the Raider cheerleader serving me, and I want them to carry me in like one of those kings, you know what I mean, on the chair and stuff. Like, do you get carried to your seat by the cheerleaders? You'd have to throw in a lot of drugs, alcohol. You know what I mean? Just being real. Like, what kind of perks do you guys have? Like, you know what? Like, for $20K, a couple of bottles of booze, I'd be like, I can go to the liquor store across the street from Mandalay Bay. I could pay $8 for that bottle that you're charging me $20,000 for. The hell's, 20. And the craziest thing people are going to buy it, man. People are going to buy it. And in fact, I'm going to go to a Raider game and stand outside one of these little luxury cabins that they have in the parking lot and laugh at the people and say, man, give me $20,000.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
The Thursday Night Throwdown continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159 of the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. Shout out to all of our AM radio affiliates out there. Countdown to kickoff is on. We are now a little more than 2 months away from college football kickoff. Georgia Tech and Florida State will get the party started in Ireland on the 24th of August, but we've got a big-time football game on August 31st, and we got a couple of them. And in fact, the defending champion Michigan Wolverines open up their season against the Fresno State Bulldogs, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on the Texas A&M Aggies. And of course, the Texas A&M Aggies have made it to the College Baseball World Series final. Let's bring in Mr. SEC himself, Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News college football analyst. Brent, it's always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to do it. This World Series has been fascinating, hasn't it, Gabe? The SEC dominance is just absolutely unbelievable in this sports too. So that has been a lot of fun, and it's been a great distraction until football season begins.
Yeah, it really helps the time pass until kickoff.
Yes,
but there's so much going on in the sports world, and as we've discussed, listen, the SEC is a great conference, but you look at the success right now of Paul Skeens coming from LSU and what he's doing with the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. But I remember when I asked you before the tournament started who you liked, and you said Texas A&M. So Texas A&M was the first team that you brought up, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Volunteers, if you remember. So we're both winners, Brent. Yes. And you know what's interesting? Even though they're on the same conference, guys, they've only played once this year. They didn't play in the regular season at all. Really? Yeah, it's like football, Brent. The SEC schedule is weird. So they played by chance. They played in the SEC tournament, and the Volunteers beat them 7-4. But to put in context, guys, the Volunteers are back in the College Baseball World Series finals for the first time since 1951. And that's the only time they've ever made it. And they lost to the Oklahoma Sooners. Meanwhile, Texas A&M are regulars in the tournament. 33 tournament appearances coming into this year. They've also never won the championship before. So someone's going to win the championship for the first time, Brett. And I think it's going to be the Tennessee Volunteers, but it should be a hell of a series.
Oh, I think it will be. I agree with that totally. Obviously, we live down here near Gainesville, Florida. So they were
great run for the Gators.
It was a tremendous run. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they were a month ago. People didn't think they had any business being in the tournament, but they did because of their strength of schedule, which was number one, and their best player, Cags, Jack Caglione. I'm curious what you think of him, Gabe. Listen, he has broken every Florida record virtually. He's the home run leader now. Just an amazing specimen in a lot of ways. And listen, he can also pitch. Just a tremendous two-way player. Just couldn't quite get it done against that A&M pitching and defense. But you're right, an incredible run by Kevin O'Sullivan and the Florida Gators.
And the Florida State Seminoles as well.
Yes.
Man, that team can hit. They played some wild games over the last couple of weeks, the Florida State Seminoles. And, you know, we spent so much time talking about the football draft, the NFL draft, NHL drafts, NBA draft is coming up next week. But baseball's starting to do a better job, Brett. Before, people really didn't know who these college players were. Now we do. Right? Now we see them. Yeah. People are watching these games more. And for people tuning in, you want to watch a fun player. Christian Moore became the first player to hit for the cycle in the College Baseball World Series since 1956. Imagine all the great players that have played in this tournament. He's the first guy since 56. And he came in here. He's an infielder. He's from Brooklyn, actually, from New York. So he came in and he plays for the Vols, but he came in like as a first-round pick. But now people are talking about being like a potential top 10 pick in the baseball draft. And, you know, I'm so excited to see how this plays out. And I'm also very excited because Texas A&M have another team that I've heard about before, their football team. And countdown is on. They play the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in their first game of the season. What a way for both teams to start the season, Brent.
I like this A&M team. I think Mike Elko is going to do a really good job. Connor Wiegman, I think, will be fine as a quarterback. They've got a good quarterback room. By the way, a lot of people may not realize this, Gabe. This is where game day is going to be as they open up on that time. So, great Saturday night game. But I think A&M, Mike Elko has said, as he has gone around and talked to the different groups, he said, we've got an NFL-type defensive line. And I can tell you, in this league, if you've got an NFL-type defensive line, you're going somewhere, and you're going to have a good season.
On the betting markets, Brent, the game is a near pick'em, essentially.
Yeah, I believe that.
And, you know, listen, Notre Dame are getting a lot of respect coming into this season. They've got Riley Leonard, ironically enough, right? Yeah. So Elko will be facing his former quarterback in his first game with the Aggies, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the amusing thing about that in a lot of ways. But look, this A&M team is still loaded. I know they don't have an Ian Smith. He went.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. I know they lost some players in the transfer portal, but Brent, listen, Fisher did a great job recruiting. I mean, it was supposedly the best team money could buy. There's a ton of talent there. Now Elko comes in. What are you expecting are you expecting instant success, like big-time success from this program this year? Do you think they win double digits? I do believe they're going to beat Notre Dame personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they probably will too. I don't know if they'll get to double digits because I tell you, when a coach enters this league, and Kalen DeBoer is about to go through the same thing. Gabe, you and I both know there's a learning curve in this league. And if you're not up in your A game on every game, there's a real chance that you could lose it. But I know they lost an Ian Smith. Moose Muhammad comes back. They've got a really good wide receiver room in this too. So I'm with you. It's going to be a fascinating game. They go to watch this game too, Gabe. They go to Gainesville early to play Florida. That is a game Billy Napier needs in the worst way in the month of September.
We've talked about it a lot, but it's finally here. We spent the last couple of years talking about all this expansion that was coming, and the modern college football world. And it's going to be tough on a lot of coaches as far as, losing more games than they're used to losing. We're in a new Wild West as far as transfers are concerned. But from a fan perspective, Brent, just if, you're just a fan and you want to watch great games, there's going to be great games every Saturday. Yes. All day long. And it starts like normally the first week zero this year, guys. We're getting Michigan, Fresno State, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia, Clemson, and LSU, and USC. That's not even week one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? In a lot of ways. But because of the expansion for the Big Ten, because of the expansion in the SEC, with Texas and Oklahoma coming, we're going to have some tremendous games. And let me mention this to you. You brought up a good point. Here's the reality, though. If you want to get in the playoffs, folks, this is going to take some adjustment, but it's going to be a lot easier to get to a 12-team playoff than a 4. What does that mean? What I think it means is, Gabe, I think you can get in at 10-2.
I really do.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. Yeah.
And we'll see. The SEC, of course, has been talking about, well, you know what? Looking at how difficult our conference is, we believe that 9-3 could be enough. But I think 10-2, I think that'll be the new.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. We're talking college football, college baseball right now with Brent Beard, SEC insider, and, of course, a Heisman Trophy voter, First Coast News college football analyst. We'll let him let you know where you can find his podcast and more. But, Brent, something that I found to be really interesting this week, there's a lot of, committing going on right now. The Michigan Wolverines got a big-time quarterback in Brady Hart out of Florida. Won the state championship last year, went 14-1 as a starter. So there's a lot of excitement in Ann Arbor about the future at the quarterback position. But all the best quarterback prospects, the 2025 guys, the guys that are still in high school right now, are all participating in the Elite 11. And for people wondering, the Elite 11 is an invite-only event, which has served as a showcase over the past years for up-and-coming quarterbacks. And it's basically a quarterback camp, class, competition. And it's like a pro day almost. Like it's like they grade, you know what I mean? It's a competition, the best versus the best in quarterback drills. But if you're wondering if it matters, 27 of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL participated in this event. And I thought you'd like this, Brent, as Heisman Trophy voter. 16 of the last 17 Heisman Trophy voters were in this event. Unbelievable track record of success if you're invited here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And this is something that's caught my attention for years. And it really does. I think that what it helps is it really gives these guys something to kind of look forward to, and also ways to improve themselves. Matt Zollers from Missouri, I know, is one of the guys who is involved with it. Achilles Smith Jr., he's an Oregon commit, and boy, Oregon is really well thought of right now. What Dan Lanning is doing for them, it's just unbelievable. Bryce Baker from North Carolina, or he's a North Carolina commit. I'm just kind of throwing out some names. I know a lot of folks may not know them, but Julian Lewis at USC, that's another guy to kind of watch out for at this point too. Deuce Knight from Notre Dame. And these are going to be household names, as Gabe said, coming up in the next few years. And Ryan Montgomery, that's going to Georgia, is another guy that I think is quite impressive. So, look, they measure them on their frame, their arm strength, their arm talent. They've got all kinds of categories that they go with this. And folks could go to YouTube, I know, and see some of this as it goes along. But as Gabe said, it is a very, very prestigious quarterback camp that, again, by invitation only.
And one player that's had a great week this week, speaking of the Texas A&M Aggies, is Husan Longstreet. Another big-time quarterback prospect, like the 28th ranked player in the country. I think he's like QB4 in the nation. Yeah. And another guy, too. And, speaking of DeBoer, we saw what he did with Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. And he made Michael Penix into a top 10 draft pick from Indiana, Washington. Can't wait to see what he does with Milroe. But another kid here, Brent, Keelan Russell, another player, had a great week. He's committed to be to go to Alabama. I think, you know what, in Alabama, the quarterback play, guys, if you're an Alabama hater and you think, oh, Saban's gone, this is going to be good, you're going to be, get ready. Like, suddenly it's not going to be Mac Jones and Greg McElroy back there. Like, suddenly they're going to have real athletes at the quarterback position in Tuscaloosa. Like, I'm like, dear God, these guys. And, time always flies, Brent, but I thought you'd like this one. And I know you're not a betting man, but I know you're like, in your notes and your podcast, you guys are on top of everything that's going on in the world. Alabama's national championship odds are the longest since Nick Saban's second year coming into this year. I think people are sleeping on Alabama. Like you and I talked about it last week when I said, I think people are overrating Ole Miss a bit. I think people are, you know what I mean? You got Missouri, you've got Tennessee, you got all these trendy teams. Alabama are still going to be good, like real good guys. Like DeBoer has taken half of Washington with him and combined all these Alabama players. And remember we talked about it, Brett. I love what DeBoer told him. He goes, this isn't a rebuild. He goes, you guys lost in the Rose Bowl last year to Michigan. I lost in the championship to Michigan. This year we're winning together. Like, he's not, like, he's thinking about winning now, this guy.
Oh, he is. And I think they're going to be able to do that, too. Now, our listeners, I want you to know, Gabe told us 6 to 8 months ago what a good coach Kalen DeBoer was because of his Pac-12 connections, and he's exactly right. And look, the two teams to me that are very undervalued are Michigan and Alabama. Now, I heard this week, and you already know this, but Michigan may have more NFL guys on that roster right now than they did last year. So those are two teams people need to be aware of. And look, in the quarterback room, not only do you have Milroe, but the backup, Ty Simpson, could start for a lot of teams. So I think they're going to be very good offensively, got some work to do defensively. And, Gabe, how about this? An early test, Bama going to Wisconsin in September before they play Georgia and Tuscaloosa.
That's going to be – there's just so many exciting interconference matchups coming up. Texas and Michigan. That's rapidly approaching. That's the one that's almost on, on my mind right now, Brett. Not to look past Fresno, but you're right as far as Michigan is concerned. Mason Graham's one of the best defensive players in the country, like point blank. Yes. And I like what he's been talking about, Brent, about creating a new identity for this football team. Right. And he was on last year's team, but he said, I was last year. This year this is a new identity. Like this is, this isn't the same team. Yet if you look around their skill, if you look around everywhere with Michigan guys, Loveland's one of the best tight ends in the country, bar none. Big time player. Graham's big time. Will John, big time. Johnson, the cornerback, another first-round draft pick. And, you and I have seen what Braylon Edwards can do in a big football game.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball-striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Football season's getting close because we're getting fired up. We're just talking with Brent Beard, but I have the NFL Network on one of the screens in front of me here, and they're already showing their preseason schedule. It's getting real right now. Great stuff talking college football with Brent. And for the bettors out there, I am talking myself into liking Texas A&M in this football game against Notre Dame. Saturday night, August 31st. We're going to be in Vegas that weekend, actually. Signing up for all the contests and going to the USC LSU game. So if you're in Vegas, we're going to get a hookup and we'll watch some games on Saturday. And we're going to the game on Sunday. A couple of things I wanted to get to as far as J.J. Redick is concerned. The details of the contract, the devil, the details and the devil and all that, right? The devil's in the details. So it's a 4-year deal. Number one, J.J. Redick's a smart dude, obviously. Just, point blank. You can tell when you hear him talk, he's an intelligent person. But he's a smart person, and he's got a great agent. 4 years, $8 million a year, $32 million guaranteed. Does he last 4 years? Well, history says no. When you look at the Lakers, you can win a championship and get fired. Will LeBron be there 4 years from now? No, right? So there's a lot that goes into that, but very shrewd and I think very smart and slick of J.J. Redick knowing that, hey, you guys fire coaches, on a annual basis, essentially. All right? You guys fire, you fire coaches like Taylor Swift goes through boyfriends. And speaking of which, I guess I lost my bet. I didn't think that Kelsey and Swift would last this long. But all kidding aside, so he's getting $32 million, even if he does get thrown under the bus. From a basketball standpoint, the big thing with being the coach of the Lakers right now, I think J.J. Redick is a smart guy, but the style of basketball that J.J. Redick is going to want to play, an analytical, three-point, modern type of dude, the Lakers don't have the roster for it. So there needs to be a little bit of tweaking that goes on. But ultimately, LeBron is in control, but at the same point in time, LeBron is a basketball sort of junkie, and that's how, J.J. Redick got the job. LeBron was basically, he thought Ham was just too primitive, and, he wants to modernize stuff, but it's easier said than done. So it's all about, as long as LeBron is there, they'll buy in because the players know, and everyone knows LeBron likes him, right? If LeBron doesn't like you, then everyone knows, well, this guy's not going to be here anyways. So I think J.J. Redick, plus let's see who he brings in as far as the staff is concerned, but good job by him. $8 million a year. But let me ask, I find this to be a little bit peculiar. This is where the Lakers operate in a weird way in that I think they think a little bit, well, we're the Lakers, everybody's going to be happy. And they lowball people. Just point blank. They lowball Tyronn Lue, right? Lue's getting $14 million in there. He could have been a coach of the Lakers years ago. Everyone loves him. The players love him. Could have been a coach of the Lakers. They lowballed him with the offer. They offered him $4 million a year or something like that. He thought it was almost an insulting offer, right? And then you fly Hurley in from the East Coast, and we all knew. I predicted that Hurley would say no, but you didn't even so what? You put this big thing, we want to get Danny Hurley and make him leave UConn overnight and change his life on a turn of a dime because we're the Lakers. Okay, fine. Put some real money on the table, and maybe he would have been in a position where he couldn't have said no. I just don't really understand why you offered $70 million for 6 years to Hurley and then turn around and give somebody that's never coached before $8 million a year. It goes to show, I think the Lakers somewhat, a little bit desperate in a sense. It's all due respect to James Borrego, it seems like, it was James Borrego or J.J. Redick or bust at this point. I'm not against the J.J. Redick hiring. Being a coach in the NBA, I don't think, there's X's and O's, yes, but it's about the players buying in. Right? If the players don't buy in, it doesn't matter how good of a X and O guy you are. So if the players buy into J.J. Redick, and I think they will because they know LeBron is bought into him, and they know LeBron is the reason why he got the job. And I'm not saying that it was a charity hire, so to speak, but let's just be real. That's how this played out with the Lakers, at least. But for people thinking, this is all, because he's buddies with LeBron and stuff. The Toronto Raptors interviewed him last year. The Charlotte Hornets have interviewed him before. The Lakers aren't the first team to think about J.J. Redick potentially as a coach, but will it work out? Time will tell, but good for J.J. Redick. 4 years, $32 million. I guarantee you he wasn't making that much money on TV. Oh, later.